tell you about. I can hear everybody for sure.
Okay, so let's see.
Yeah.
Test yourselves, I guess. Fuck.
Mic check.
Testing.
Mic check.
Test phase
Mic
2019.
check. Mic check.
Can you hear me?
Doth thy. I can't see the stream just yet.
But can you hear me?
See this delicious alcoholic
Doth
beverage going in my glass.
Doth thy.
Yep,
Are
I hear it. We're good,
Everybody's normal?
I think.
I mean, normal.
If only I could
Yep.
see the.
Normal's a relative term.
So what was wrong, Google Duo?
No. It was just,
Ooh.
I don't know why I was fucking not picking it up. I just had to stop it, fucking click what the fuck was already. I had to. It's the same thing. So when I'm trying to pick up Discord's video, and I pop it out of the video player,
Yar?
and then I go into trying to select it because whenever I try to see the video, it says like null, blah blah blah, whatever. I drop down box it, click the same fucking thing, and then it picks up his video. It was essentially the same goddamn fucking thing. And yeah,
So let's just start over. Okay, so just repeat everything you said, and then for 30 minutes, and then we'll just do it all again. Okay.
yeah. So
Excellent.
that makes sense. I like it.
Great. Nothing I love more than repeating myself.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so into it.
Just kidding. Let's just summarize it.
Yeah.
So-
Basically,
So,
So we were talking about God saves the patients, not the doctors. We were talking about consciousness, and we were talking about expanding your mind with
Psychalytics.
chemicals.
psychedelic dicks, and
Sickly dicks.
smells like dicks, and then
Oh, it smells like my spirit.
Tastes.
actually when we had them, it tasted just like stale popcorn. So-
Yeah, there's this sort of like umami, sort of like. It's not like meaty, but you can taste what it is.
You smell that?
I don't know what the fuck we were talking about.
Dude, everything to consciousness, bro.
We're talking about purplish blue and brown things that grow on wood chips.
Okay.
I thought they were
cow
hot
shit.
pink. What are you talking about?
So
And cow poop.
sorry for the fucking audio difficulties prior 30 minutes. That if anybody has cared to come back and watch this motherfucking thing, but it was pretty fucking. It was getting pretty good. We were talking about some stuff. Jay was explaining, his psychedelic, what went down, how he was defining consciousness as far as, and just like life in general. And then we started going in on of God's work, and
God's plan, right?
all of that stuff.
All the work he's done saving all those children in
Yes,
hospitals.
yes.
And how doctors are overrated and we don't actually need them.
Absolutely, because all we need to do is have God work on them. Because apparently He works through the surgeons and all of that.
Mhm. We don't need surgeons at all.
Right, and God enters the body through the dick hole.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then it
Specifically.
exits through the anus.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
the
a
only way-
front door, back door situation.
Yeah, it's the only
Absolutely.
place you fucking
Yeah.
do it. I don't know why you're acting like it's not. Jesus Christ.
You just gotta give it. Don't knock it till you try it. Like,
Yeah, bro.
I know. All you do is you just got to get down on all four
get
knees.
down on your knees.
All four knees. And
All
just-
four
All
knees.
four knees.
And you just got to praise Him sometimes.
Praise the Son!
Yep.
Oh,
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
You're welcome.
Man, Marshall's
That's
mad.
Totally how
Marshall's
all
so
of it
mad.
works. That is
Yeah.
how it all works.
Duh.
But I don't know. It's one of those things that I guess I was trying to pose a question to Mr.
that's me.
Scrapyard Films. Oh, she got nice.
it's
That's
actually
tasty.
San
Viva!
Antonio Brewery, which I have no idea where that is in San Antonio, but
Good old
it's
San
actually good.
Annie.
it's a American lager. It's great. It's fucking tasty.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So if you were to equip a sufficiently advanced artificial intelligence with all of the same sensors that the human body has, then what do you have? Do you have a conscious being?
Well,
I mean,
Perhaps.
I don't know. If it thinks for itself, if it feels emotions, if it feels physical pain, maybe.
so check this. There is a old game that I was listening to. This very intelligent. I was listening to a podcast. This Lex Friedman. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So he was talking about a game, and it's essentially where you put two. You start with like two pegs. I guess it's like two dots, and then you can only expand if those two dots are next to each other, and then it evolves into crazy patterns. Well, essentially what he was getting at was basically the game was so sophisticated and ahead of its time that consciousness as we know it could just be and this goes to the simulation theory and what we consider are we in a simulation right now, but this is all speculatory, of course, but essentially his output, his
Speculatory.
so that is very loud.
What is?
You're very loud.
The strumming of the instrument, that's very loud. I
Oh
don't know.
my God.
The bass
Jay.
in my eardrums, I hear that louder than when I'm talking, but I mean, you can.
Sorry, headphone cable was slapping against a string.
Makes sense. Anyways, so we're talking about like his view on that was you could just it could be a program. It could be something so simple as to just a set of rules, and then it gets to fucking get smarter that way. It's talking back on the AI. We're talking about how can something learn and become self-aware, have its own conscious.
Very
Like,
carefully.
and essentially that's all. He said that his quote, not quote unquote, but not verbatim by any means, but it could be like a fucking 13-year-old that fucking, or something like an adolescent just very, very. Oh no, you get there. Somebody who programs this, and it's for the simulation. We don't know exactly what conscious is. It could be profound, something that we've never even thought of. God damn it, dude! I just lost my whole fucking.
Oh, I
don't
think
even- yeah. Sorry.
sort of. I get. I kind of smell what you're stepping in here.
Yeah.
Ooh, small steps.
Yeah. So and I've seen that it's mathematically more probable that our brains are like our universe is simulated rather than a natural phenomenon. Like mathematically speaking, the probability is higher that we are in a simulated universe rather than not.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and like it's highly likely that we could simulate the human brain. Kind of what you were saying, where the two dots can only expand when they're next to each other. Your brain can only get bigger when all the parts of itself can talk to the other parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as far as where does consciousness fit in to that? I mean, it's possible when you go on the huge macro scale that our galaxy looks a lot like a neuron or synapse inside the human brain. And there's a lot of these things. Like, you compare the structure of the gas clouds of nebula to the apparent structure of, like, the human iris. And you see a lot of similarities and a lot of patterns. And that's what humans are good at. So it doesn't mean that just because the universe that we see looks like a big brain with dementia means that the universe is a big brain with dementia.
But why not?
I'm not saying there's no good reason for why not. Just that the universe is weird. We don't know, like, we barely understand what we're...
Yeah. I mean, we
And reading through The Expanse, it's sort of like they refer to the world of matter in a way of calling it like a substrate. The thing that you build upon. And it's possible that we are just the matter that makes something up, and we're tiny little microorganisms inside of a larger organism of the universe. But it's one of those things that the substrate, the world of matter, is one sort of way of being, and your consciousness is currently in humans limited to yourself, right? I can't look through any one of your eyes at this moment and think your thoughts. We can't share our consciousness, but what if we could?
Yeah, that's something that, well, at least Elon Musk was very much hoping that he could accomplish. I don't know if you watched his presentation on Neuralink. That was very recent. Actually, I believe it was either earlier today or yesterday evening. Where his first implementation of the Neuralink implant, he put it in a pig, and it was actually receiving all the sensory, like every time its snout touched something, it was receiving electronically, like, essentially electronic pulses that was computing back to him, and was fucking dude, it was actually kind of amazing. But what he was planning on doing that initially with the Neuralink was fixing spinal and brain damage, because all of that essentially, pain, just everything goes back to the brain. It's essentially electronic pulses that are being relayed up to this brain, and that this brain that we have up in here, which we have no idea what the fuck it does, other than, okay, well, this is the reason that we are able to think, able to do, because sensory reception from the electronic pulses up to, essentially we have we're a brain in a vat, and that vat being our skull.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you subscribe to the sort of philosophy that you are your brain? When your brain shuts down, you're gone.
Yeah, I subscribe to that.
Okay, because no, I've believed that for a while, but I'm starting to feel like maybe there is a little bit more to being in this universe, and sort of how putting energy out there and getting it thrown back your way, and whatever you put out there you get back. Like I was sort of talking about earlier, of how the universe sometimes it feels like, oh, someone's got my back here. Nice. Thanks for the tiny little favor, or something like that. There's a lot of spiritual practices that believe that there is some form of momentum to what you're doing and the energy that you're putting out there. And that once everything shuts down, you go into, a loop waiting for the next cycle through the machine, if we want to use like the simulation theory.
Okay.
And your momentum as a person, your tendencies to react to things, and your habits that make you up as a person. Not to say like we're just a collection of emotions, habits, reactions, patterns, but in a sense you could say that. All of this stuff keeps going after you die.
Whoa.
And your trip through the machine of the universe is going to restart, and you might have learned something from your last collection of energy and momentum and experiences. You might not have.
Okay. So essentially, you're talking about we are just energy that learns, has a lifespan, if you will, and will essentially come back after the vessel that we are entertaining at this moment in time expires.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what you're
That-
talking
it-
about,
it's-
kind of.
Yeah, that's a a painting of the picture I'm presenting. Yeah.
I like that. I like the thought of it. And honestly, I feel like, energy. I feel that energy. We are in its essence individual balls of energy, if you will. I've done some DMT in my life, a lot of it, and I fucking can tell you right now that whenever I travel on my trips,
Mm-hmm.
I leave this realm and I don't see my body. I'm not anything. Breathing is nothing. Well, I'm a ball of fucking energy that leaves this vessel that I am entertaining, and I go all throughout the different fucking realms, and it's actually what you're saying holds a lot of fucking ground with me, because I have been many a times I have many a times left this vessel and traveled to some fucking insane places. And as far as the psychedelics goes, LSD, big fucking time. It tunes me. It tunes me more towards the the acoustics, the vibrations, the just everything that the Earth is speaking, and it's very hard to get in tune with that. I know that Josh up here, old Scrapyard, he has not been through the down to the psychedelic route of things.
I did it once. Me and Lisa did it once.
Oh, that's right, that's right. So, what was your, like, did you feel like after all of that, did you feel like you were more in tune with the Earth? Like, how did that make you feel? And
Personally, no. I didn't feel any different afterwards. But I don't know, maybe either I'm already in tune as much with the Earth as I already can be, or I don't know, I just, went through the fucking mind trip of the 7-hour long fucking unspeakable trip, like, 'cause we did way too much. It was stupid. It was dumb. Fucking Logan said, take this, and then in an hour or two it'll hit you, and then like that's it or whatever. So we took it, and then 2 hours later we finished a movie, nothing yet. Called Logan, he goes, just take the rest. So
Do it.
so we fucking took the rest, and that was the fucking second after we got that ingested. That was the second the first batch started hitting us.
wave.
Yeah.
I like it.
It was not fun. Well, I don't know. It towards the end, there was some not fun parts. Like one time, I could talk about this for 30 minutes, my whole fucking trip. I wanted, but that would take up the episode.
No.
But there were some crazy parts, and then there were some like you couldn't sleep afterwards. It was a light show in your fucking head, and then you woke up with like the worst feeling of a full body hangover, like.
Oh yeah, because it's very taxing on the body. Well, at
especially
least
when you do that much.
Well,
for your first time.
True. Well, yeah. Yes and no. It all depends on the person.
It's one of those experiences that usually, like, if I'm gonna do a heavier dose of LSD, like, I want a day to recover from that.
This was like psilocybin. But
but when it comes to psilocybin, I don't know if it's just a like body proportion sort of thing. I thought I took around 2, maybe 3 grams of stuff.
Yeah.
And didn't really feel that different all night long. It was one of those things like I've microdosed and popped like a single cap.
I was gonna say, have you microdosed in the past? So
yes.
You said so microdose. Well, and I am like, I guess you could say I'm like a fucking veteran of this stuff. I'm not even. Oh my goodness, the amount of psilocybin I've ingested at one time ranges and varies from anywhere of a gram to 14 grams at once. And I can tell you right now that the 14-gram ingestion was probably the fucking hardest trip of like that in that class of psychedelics. Well, I mean, because I've never taken more than. I took 14 and then I took another 14. Like
Never taken more than that ever again.
Yeah, and with LSD, it's a vial. I've done a vial on several occasions, and that right there, that will test your willpower as far as you come back sane or not. And a vial, for those who are not very versed in psychedelics, if you're tuning in for the first time, and yes, you're hearing about drugs, a vial is 100 hits. Relatively.
100 drugs?
100 pieces of singular drugs.
100 drugs.
100 of the purest drug.
100 of the purest drugs. So the fucking... Yes.
Just right in the eyeball.
Well, there was 10 in each eyeball. And then fucking... 10 in each eyeball. And then the vial down the hatch. The remainder of the vial. So that fucking...
Right.
And... about fucking 80 hits down, fucking 10 and 10 on the eyeballs. So I was seeing fractal patterns that were actually fucking otherworldly. And holy shit, yes. I feel like I just remember waking up from the night and oh my god, dude, I just like felt different. Like I felt like I saw things different. I heard things different. I looked at things different. And not just from, you know, coming off of fucking 100 hits of LSD. It was yeah, I felt very fucking in tune. Even after the first time I did shrooms, that was a trip, man. Like legitimately, like within itself, coming back or coming back to normalcy, I felt like I was more in tune with the earth and more or less the energy thing, you know.
It's
being a hippie over there.
It's very much what you're saying about it's very good for a reset.
Absolutely, a little mental and like an ego reset. Like, because you start to think these things about yourself. You start to think like about everything around you. I mean, I'm just talking about me right here. As far as that goes, it was an ego reset, man. Because after that, I was like, man, I am like literally not shit comparatively. Oh, is it 9 o'clock over there?
Yep. That's what that means.
I fucking swear, dude. I have been a big-headed motherfucker in the past, and my collective times of doing psychedelics, I've definitely ego-checked myself so many fucking times because I'm like, at the end of it, I'm really not anything more than just fucking energy being burnt off and fucking spread throughout this world that we are all burning our own energy off and throwing in this fucking in this galaxy, man. And I do believe exactly what Jay was saying, that, you know, once this vessel expires, our energy is still there and we can come back and
it's interesting the way that followers of like the okay, I formulated the sentence better. When the previous Dalai Lama dies and they're looking for the next one, the new one, they set a child that they believe to be reincarnation of the Dalai Lama in front of a bunch of objects, you know?
Okay.
And they see what the child gravitates toward. And when the child gravitates toward the same object that held a lot of significance to the previous Dalai Lama, that's when they say that they've found him again. Kind of, yeah, talking about our tendencies and our momentum. Our test is to see, oh, do you recognize this thing from your previous life? Do you have any attraction to these, you know, these things that you used to like? If you are the same person come back again, then your energy, your tendencies, your habits should carry over in that way.
Which brings that euphemism that people say, like, oh, I must have been this in a past life. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like that's where that stems from. As far as the sacred tradition of the choosing of the new Dalai Lama, yeah, I've heard of that, and I thought it was profound. I actually really do like it as well. I like the idea of it. And that really, I mean, that really does tie back to, you know, like the consciousness, the awareness, and all of the above.
Oh, yeah, and it's interesting. Have you ever read the short story? Sorry if I cut you off.
No.
There's a short story called, I believe it's called The Egg. It has something to do with an egg.
Huh.
Let me see if I can find it.
I have not read that, but it does sound
Earlier,
interesting
I
if
thought-
you're tying it into that. So
Yeah, earlier I thought you were going to be talking about. Earlier I thought you'd be talking about. I have no mouth and I must scream.
Oh,
who? Me?
Yeah,
Uh,
because you were talking about a game that was sort of ahead of its time, and they did make sort of a text point-and-click adventure based on a novel by the same name. I have no mouth and I must scream.
no. I just heard Lex. He was talking about it as far as it relating to the artificial general intelligence. Like, what would we ask? Like, if we woke up from this simulation, like, what would we ask the first person that we saw, or what would we ask the programmer, essentially? And, you know, like, it was, you know, that was this simulation theory, but basically, he was speaking of a game, and oh god, man, what is it fucking called? I want to say it's called, like, Life, or something like that. Or not life, not the game of life, like whatever that fucking stupid ass game is, but it's like a
Game of life.
it's a game of life.
Yeah, half of it.
Yeah, I'm not. I have to look it up.
I sent a link to the Discord chat about the egg, and it's just a short story concerning someone who has recently died, and I'll summarize. I won't necessarily read the exact summary for the viewers and stuff, but I'll sort of paraphrase it. You have died in a car crash, and you meet a narrator who says that you've died before. The last time that you died, you got to be yourself. The next time that you live, you're going to be a Chinese peasant girl in the year 540. And it goes on to say that in previous lives, you've been tons of different people. You've been Abraham Lincoln. You've been Yeshua ben Joseph. You've been Adolf Hitler. You've been Gandhi. You've been John Wilkes Booth. And you've been every person on the earth. And once you've gone through enough times, there's this egg. There's the universe, and you are inside of it. And once you've gone through every life in the universe, is when the egg hatches and you are born as God. It's an interesting story, and it ties into that same sort of psychedelic realization that you're not different in the ways that you think of yourself as different from every other human on the planet. Like, the things that you think make yourself different from everyone else, yeah, they're individualities, but we're all the same, I don't know, base model, I guess.
You are everyone and everyone is you. You just never realize it.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's
While you're confined to one body and one experience and one existence in the universe,
we are
then
all one body, one individual experience.
And that's one of the interpretations of the phrase namaste, which is my soul recognizes yours. And that I heard Devin Townsend say in a Christian interpretation of such that namaste is the concept of that which is godly or Christ-like in me sees the same in you. And it's that sort of, like I said, like a psychedelic realization that, oh, we're all the same.
We're all
Deep down.
brains in vats, experiencing a similar yet very different experience in the lifespan that this vessel is set to and expires on, essentially.
And sometimes you might be in that same situation where everyone is literally the same. You'll just never realize it in your life.
Yeah. And you know what? I fucking love that. I don't know about the way that you were selling about how he was about the God version of that, because honestly,
that part's a little bit.
That's a little far fetched, and it's actually kind of plagiarized from a bigger fucking definitely
You're plagiarized.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, we're all plagiarized. Just some
thank
of us
you,
are more
so that I didn't have to be the one who said it.
Yep. You're going to be the one that they're going to sue. So.
Yeah. So.
No,
I thought it would be
I'm
me.
not the one who's. Wouldn't it be the author?
Yeah.
Of said short story.
Who's the author?
Not me.
Yeah, you are, according to your story.
Yeah, it's all hearsay. So it will never hold up in court.
And you're your own lawyer.
We don't
With
even have
fucking citations.
We don't even have any fucking video evidence of you saying it, just audio, and that could be easily manipulated. But still,
Viewers out there, it is a short story called "The Egg," written in 2009 by one Andy Weir. None of it is my intellectual
by
property.
one J Bummer.
Which isn't his actual name, so I mean,
It's just
joke's on you.
It's just an author name.
Yeah.
It's just a pen name.
The Bummer.
The Bummer.
Yeah,
Oh,
J
my
Bummer. J
gotta
Bummer
be
is just the
calling-
pen name of Andy Weir, which is the pen name of James Lawler.
Which is the pen name of Jay, formerly known as Bummer.
Hammer.
Which is also the pen name of James S.A. Corey. Congrats, I've been writing The Expanse since before I was born.
Yep. God damn it. And then the paradox continues.
Alright, you mofos. I gotta be getting going.
Alright.
Getting
It's
going.
unfortunate we had, the late start, but it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Still had a good time.
It was
Good
great.
talking with y'all.
It's nice. It's nice.
Finish out strong. Real strong.
I'm gonna finish out strong, just like
Can't.
Real strong.
just like I finished in life. In life.
Strong.
Strong.
Alright.
Strong
as
man.
fuck. Well, Josh, Scrapyard Films. We're gonna definitely put all of the ways that anybody else can reach you in the description, and very much appreciated you coming on. Sorry
no problem,
again
man.
for the audio difficulties. Fucking stupid as shit. Fucking piece of shit.
Alright.
Fucking computers. We love them.
I
we
just
hate
like
'em.
hanging out and talking with y'all. I just like hanging out and talking in general.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Cool.
It's always nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Alright, guys. Well, y'all take it easy. And I'll watch the stream tomorrow. See how it finishes.
Okay.
So,
Alright.
it's done.
Thanks for having you. Thanks for
Later.
having you over. All right. So yes.
So,
what do you
yeah.
feel like? How do you feel about the simulation theory? How do you feel about it?
You mean the theory that we're all living in like a simulation?
Yeah,
and
the
not
theory,
a real world?
Well, I mean, what is real? But yes,
Oh.
simulation theory. Simulation theory is part of like something like in the Matrix. You know,
See, you guys are thinking about this from the Matrix point of view, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing
simulation
wrong.
theory is that the Matrix point of view?
Oh, no, you're looking at the simulation theory from a Matrix point of view. That we're one dream deep. I think that we might be in more of a teeny-verse situation, you know?
It's kind of like that Rick and Morty where he
Yeah, the
makes,
teeny-verse.
where he makes that he makes their whole fucking
We
life
could-
revolves around doing one thing until somebody smart enough figures out.
And it's possible that the one thing that our entire existence is devoted to is living and experiencing what it's like to be alive.
Or it also could be that this is similar to that in its essence of the Anunnaki theory.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, typically, why do we like gold so much? Well, we, as in like the general people, and why are we here? And what was we were just made to harvest fucking an essential metal.
I don't buy it because
Yeah,
gold
no.
has not.
Yeah,
gold
absolutely.
has not had. Gold has not had like supreme importance in every culture.
Well,
There was, Hernan Cortez.
I mean, I don't know why that
Conquistador.
sounds familiar. That sounds familiar.
Explored like Mexico and like Central America and stuff.
Right.
It was a Spanish conquistador and he came to the New World, and he came in search of gold. Because of course, that's what every royal in Europe wants, is shitloads and shitloads of gold.
And why is that?
Because
shiny.
in the European economy, gold is synonymous with currency. It's been I shouldn't say the lingua franca.
Well, why
but
is
it's
that?
been
Because
everyone agreed. But in Central America, in these Mayan and pre-Peruvian civilization, like the pre-modern Latin cultures that we think of today, the indigenous people, they had a shit ton of gold, but it wasn't that valuable to them. They had silver and beads and
jewels.
platinum,
Right.
which is rarer and much more precious than gold.
Platinum's
And-
kind of a big deal.
And back then, Spanish didn't give a fuck about that platinum. They thought it was shitty silver. I'm pretty sure that platinum had a name that was worse silver. So they didn't know what they had. They were looking for gold. Now, the Mayan people, they had this practice where they would take a bunch of pretty things to be sacrificed, to be made sacred and offered to their gods. So what they did was they took a bunch of gold sculptures, coins, all the gold they could find, and they threw it in a lake to offer it to their god. And gold is perfect for that. It doesn't corrode. It doesn't oxidize. You can you can store it underwater, and it's gonna be fine.
You can do whatever the hell you want with it, basically, as long as you're not melting it, and even then,
So-
it's gonna come back.
Yeah, it was the perfect sort of sacrificial material because
Right.
you could keep reusing it and offering it to your god.
Yeah.
It didn't go away in the water. So anyway, Cortez tried to drain the lake and dredge the bottom, and it was a huge, just a huge disastrous ordeal for everyone. A foolish endeavor by all accounts.
Right.
Much like European colonialism. Foolish endeavor.
Yeah.
Foolish.
So yeah, basically, the whole Anunnaki and we we're greedy little gold goblins because we're gold miners, genetically engineered to be the gold miners for the superior master race.
Right.
Not all of us like gold. Some of us like silver. Some of us like petrified tree sap.
Well, it's because we've, it's been decades and decades and thousands of years, and civilizations that, essentially, and I'm not speaking out of this is what I believe. I'm here to fucking stir the pot with different.
You're advocating for, yeah.
So, we've been groomed to this, and of course, we've become more prone to what we like. We're not the norm, but the vast majority of this society still loves gold.
They love gold.
Goldfinger loves gold,
Love.
Gold. But I mean,
it's like starting a frickin' howl with the dogs.
yeah.
Make eye contact. Oh.
So, it could honestly it all goes back to.
Does it all go back?
Does it though? This is everything I am saying is just, what do you think, and what is your take? And I fucking like that Jay, you have been coming at a lot of these things with obviously
Gusto.
the stuff that has been written and said in the past, but also really, what is your you have said somewhat, you scraped the surface as to what you feel as far as it all
as
is
far
concerned.
as, like, what is consciousness?
Well, no, just like what is okay, so what is your take though? Like, as far as what is us? What are we?
Is the correct answer human?
Well, essentially.
Yeah, but I think
There's
think
more.
like I love the idea that we are these meaty octopi. We're a skeleton covered in meat, piloted by a ghost that lives inside of an 8-pound lump of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a lot of fun when you think about it that way. Does that mean it's like the end all be all of the way it is? No, but could it be? Sure, it's possible. I'll entertain it. It's a very entertaining sort of idea that you've got nothing to be afraid of. You're a ghost covered in meat.
We're just a
Oh,
ghost in a
scaleless.
shell.
Yes, indeed. And you can obviously, like I have for a long time, think that where the electrical impulse is going on inside that brain.
Brain in a
And,
vat.
Yeah, you can think that we're a brain in a vat. That's all fine and good. And I've thought about that for a long time. I've pondered that theory. The only, I guess, sort of, I guess the reason I'm just not coming out and saying something is the fact that I don't know, and I don't think that we have any way
That's the
to
best
know.
fucking answer that I've heard all night.
Like, the reason that I won't commit to anything is because I don't know shit.
We are all so fucking ignorant. Like, as individual, as a race, we have no
Right.
fucking idea what we are, where or why or how. We can only speculate, and I like that.
I mean,
I like
if you think about our history, we've only been writing shit down for what, like 4,000 years?
I mean, that we can recover,
Max.
that
Yeah.
we can recover, that we know. But honestly,
Of all the stuff that we've found so far, we only know that we've been actually writing stuff down for other people to find out through this, whether it's the hieroglyphs or whatever your language is, if you have a visual representation of language, you can communicate by, being some Viking that scratched, I was here somewhere in the Middle East,
But here's the other part of that that's a little crazy when you want to think about it is, that's just what we found.
Right.
That's just what we found on the surface.
And dude, that fucking
the idea is like we've been writing it down for so long, but all of these things that are written down have been passed down verbally through oral tradition way longer, and it's really strange that the human race doesn't really know its own history.
Which was what Ben was saying, is that what we found.
Right.
And there's been cataclysmic. There's been proof of fucking cataclysmic events that have happened, and they're finding them all over the world. The craters that.
Yeah, what was that thing like 120,000 years ago?
Man, fuck. What? Okay, so there was this. And I should have fucking written this down so I could fucking see it, so I don't sound like just a mumbling, fumbling fool. But
if you wanna think on that, collect your thoughts. I can throw a little theory I have of my own out there.
Let's hear it, buddy.
You've been a little quiet this podcast.
I've honestly just been enjoying listening to everything that's been going on, and I haven't felt a huge need to jump in and add a lot to it yet. But just on the subject of like previous. Or history, I guess you could say. It's something that I think I've talked to a few people about, but I'm a big fan / personal theory of, I think that we are on insert X basically round of ourselves, as far as humanity goes, not necessarily personally, like, oh, there's been this many me's before, you know what I mean? But there's been generations, for lack of a better word, of people before what we know as today, like the past, let's say, like 4,000 years. And in those 4,000 years, if you want to use like the Bible as a reference point for anything, I'm
just saying, like 4,000 years is how long we found written records.
Right. I'm just using it as an arbitrary number.
Okay. Yeah. So if you want to go with the Bible one, I think it's somewhere closer to 6,000. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right because you've got blah blah blah, whatever. Point stands. Years. So, like, and I'm going to use the Bible as a reference because you have, let's say, in the Bible, there's the flood, right?
Moses
life's
get on
wiped
the boat.
out, quote unquote. Moses and whoever's on the boat and the animals are the only thing that survives the flood.
It was Noah's Ark.
I was like, wait, come on. Somebody, Moses, no, Noah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Whatever. Fuck off. The dude with the boat, the dread sorcerer Noah, if you want to go with the SCP stuff. Yes, I've been listening to that for the past few days. Continuing onwards, like, world-ending, cataclysmic event, wipes everything out, basically, right? How many of that kind of events have happened previously? How many times have we as civilization built up and done things only to be knocked back down? I'm using the Bible to bring this up.
Sorry. It sounds like you're kind of getting onto something related to SCP-2000. This isn't going to turn into an SCP episode.
Right. I know what you're referring to because I listened to one about that. We'll send you links.
Yeah. I'll send the link. The link I'm thinking of right now is the document found at the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
I haven't listened to that one. Never mind.
Okay, you'll love that.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, yeah, like there's all these things that we question for so long and aren't even sure I don't think fully. I could have just be behind on my research, but like Stonehenge, the pyramids, and all these other things that are, you know, the wonders of the world and how did we do it. And some people say aliens, some people say that there was some kind of advanced tech, some people say one thing or the other. No one's 100% sure on how it was done.
A lot of people think if white people didn't do it, then it couldn't have happened.
Right.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
But basically, the moral of the story is...
White people... Oh, my God. Sorry.
There's all these questions. There's all these things we don't know. There's all of this undocumented history because according to, let's say, the Bible, the Earth is, what, like 6,000, 7,000 years old. But according to science, it's millions upon billions of years old.
44 billion, I believe.
Yeah. So, if the Bible is 6,000 years and science is saying that we've got 44 billion years of the Earth being around, and I know a good chunk of that is, you know, the Earth actually forming and life evolving and everything else with that. But how many civilizations have risen, fallen, died?
4.5 billion years.
That's still a lot of fucking years.
Dude, in 6,000 years is barely scratching the surface. Go on, Ben.
And that's 6,000 years that, according to the Bible, that mankind was already fully fleshed out.
Neanderthals.
Because we're starting with Adam and Eve. And if we're starting with Adam and Eve and they're the only two people that are on the earth and that, well, few books... No, it's actually like the same book, actually, that's still in Genesis, I believe. The flood happens, and guess what? It's one family left.
And then so we're all incest.
So we're basically right back at the beginning, just
cesspools.
after original sin and all that fun stuff, which, whatever you want to believe on that. So if you're looking at that as a historical document in that sense, who's to say that Adam and Eve weren't just the two people who happened to be back after a cataclysmic event and they survived, and we scratched that history off the surface of the earth?
I think that the fucking Bible is just a bunch of hearsay that's been passed on.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just using it as in reference to theory.
No. Absolutely. I like that too. But also definitely, man, the fucking amount of fucking science to just absolutely just make that to be just completely fictional is very... honestly, I feel like the Bible is just a very big fucking passed down science fiction novel.
So the Old Testament is a big mythical history book of the Jews. Just to throw that out there.
And you know Jews love gold, so they are basically Anunnaki slaves.
Look at how expensive Bibles are. Let's think about this. How expensive are they? They're real fucking expensive.
They are pretty fucking expensive for some paper that I used to roll joints with. God damn. Anyways, sorry.
It's actually not that uncommon of a use for the good book. This is a very good book.
Well,
it's a very, very... Dude,
if you look at it as a book and not like historical fact and such, it's a pretty decent read.
Right.
If you look at it as a historical fact thing and a rule thing to go by, there are way too many plot holes and just illogical arguments and contradictory points to itself.
Sure. And it's one of those things that, like I was saying about the Old Testament, is in no way, shape, or form meant to be taken literally. It's legendary aggrandizations of the Jewish history. And them saying, like, hey, all of our... You know it's powerful when it has a weird name. But, yeah, it's this big historical account of, you know, we are the children of God. This is our story. And all of that. And I know you guys probably consume a lot of the same media I do, and you're most likely familiar with a comedian by the name Ari Shafir.
Yeah.
Familiar, but I haven't actually listened to any. So
Ari went to Jerusalem, and I think he spent 15 years studying the Talmud. Spent a lot of time reading the Jewish texts. And he had an Israeli Israeli good rabbi.
Yeah. He is really had to be really good to fucking be his rabbi. Tell you what.
He had he had a real rabbi there to interpret these stories.
But was he as real?
Yes.
He was
as real
he
as
was
they
as
got.
really real.
He was as really as they can get. Okay,
yeah.
sorry, go on.
Oh, just
It was too
saying,
juicy.
like,
It was too juicy.
yeah, no, and there's a story in there about a dragon that would come and take teenage boys away. And he was really confused because he's just like, I can pick up the hints in all the rest of the ship. What the fuck is the dragon? And he took a second to think about it. And he's like, well, it's a metaphor for masturbation. And it's just like, oh, okay, cool. We've been kink shaming budding sexuality for thousands of years. Nice.
Okay.
I mean,
But
yeah,
it's one of those things.
why
Like
wouldn't
you have to take everything with a little grain of salt, because all these people that read it and interpret it to be literally the truth, they're not doing it right.
Well, I mean, those people that have been said credible to read it and say it's the truth, as credible as they think they are, realistically, it all comes back down to the linguistics of it all. It's a language. It's a language barrier, if you will, and our interpretation of such. And I feel that.
Well, it's one of those things like the translating the Bible from Hebrew, then to Greek, then to Latin, then into English. It went through a lot of
Filters.
people, and people know. Yeah, it got filtered through a lot of people. And how many people do you know that are filthy fucking liars?
so many.
All of them.
And if they had a book that you thought was given to everyone on earth by God, and they could make that book say whatever they wanted, yeah, they're probably gonna manipulate some motherfuckers.
Absolutely.
What?
Absolutely.
No.
Just because of the vast majority of people are fucking sheep-minded motherfuckers.
Kind of dumb.
By
They
the
just
way,
wanna-
I'm
they just wanna
listening,
thump
and
something.
I do want to be a part of everything. I'm just also downloading videos on YouTube
Oh, no worries.
for tomorrow.
I'm very, very, I'm very surprised as to how the Discord audio is coming through very well today.
Yeah, it has really not disappointed us tonight.
Yeah.
Well, also, have we actually tried to do it consistently since I did a bunch of work on the internet here?
Yeah, remember the last podcast?
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah. It was being very poppy and snappy with me. But now, no, it's very great. It's awesome. I like it. And
Works out
video.
alright.
Your video and audio is coming through fantastically, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
no,
what I like to hear.
definitely,
So-
man. Definitely the motherfucking interpreters, quote unquote, the fucking people who are said to, oh yeah, dude, the manipulation factor is way more real, and
Yeah.
nobody wants to
it's,
fucking.
Depending on how you want to look at it, like, religion could just be a bunch of old dudes, like a bunch of not prehistoric necessarily, but a bunch of ancient dudes that took a bunch of mushrooms and saw God. And
Yeah.
they all had this shared trip with each other where they agreed that they spoke with something that knew better than them.
Yeah.
Now from a modern perspective, they might have just been speaking to their own souls in that moment.
Yeah.
Thing that knows better than them. The voice inside your head, the voice in your heart that tells you this is the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe a bunch of old dudes got high, started tripping balls, and decided that, hey, it'd be really nice if everybody just kind of got along and tried to do this thing.
What you just said actually reminded me of my very first heavy fucking journey on DMT to another dimension where I was an energy ball shifted and fucking thrown into a fucking insanely intense fucking tornado of, I guess you could say that this was just sending me into another dimension. I was fucking leaving this plane of reality that I assumed to be reality, and then I ended up...
That's Tornado of Souls.
I ended up...
It's funny, that's what I was going to say.
I ended up being sent to this
Same, but different.
This very, very beautiful fucking place. And it was nothing but a huge hallway, what it seemed to be for me. And it had pillars, just huge pillars. And it was just all from where I could see down. And so I've been to this place many a times. And it was called the Waiting Room, from a lot of people that did DMT, and they have been to a similar spot.
And that's one of the things I was curious about, is if you've ever journeyed to the same plane or the same place, the same location twice.
Yeah. Oh, yes, every single time. Every single time that I did it. Because the Waiting Room essentially was an exit or an entrance, dependent on if you made the decision to go further. And the very first time that I had done it, I was just there. And it was just...
Stay in the waiting room?
No. I stayed there for a while. What it seemed to be a while to me. And then I heard a voice. And then I saw an entity, something that was like, do you want to go further? And I said yes. And then it to me, it felt as if something reached its hand out towards me, and what I could verbalize as a woman entity. And it took me, and it pulled me back into the tornado of fucking craziness, and I ended up into this fucking, what I could interpret in my very, very, very primitive fucking language, my explanation, I ended up at this round table in a sort, but it was just big balls of fucking energy around me that I could only think to be alien, because it's not familiar to me, so it's alien. Right. And so I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand because it was very loud, and it was just like, and I wasn't, and whenever, before I went in, I remember I inhaled as much as I could, and I let go of it, and then everything started shifting, like tiles flipping, and I heard the and it was all around me, and it was just fucking like, it was hieroglyphics, but it was just holographic hieroglyphic tiles flipping, and then everything went white, and then I went into a fucking tornado, and then that's where I ended up, as I was able to see again. And then it pulled me again after I wanted to go further into this waiting room, and from the waiting room to a fucking big round table of fucking of noise, and I could individualize different entities, and they were talking to one another, it seemed, and then I could fucking hear, as soon as I listened very, very carefully. And the barrier of language was insane, but in that time, which was actually crazy because my best friend was there, and usually whenever you go, you have to have somebody watching, so in case you try to get up, walk around, whatever. Well, I got up, and you could even fucking ask him to this day, I started speaking this fucking language, but I was actually like a fucking an outlet. Like something was coming through me, and I was talking this fucking language that he's never fucking heard of. And it was just a very, very, very crazy experience because I was just speaking this very, very crazy low, like the tone of my voice. He told me was just in an octave that it was just like very deep, and he was tripping the fuck out because their shit was fucking scary. Like how I was fucking just projecting this fucking tone and speaking in my mouth. Like he saw it and was just like, he could only say that was fucking like just a dialect that was just never, he's never been familiar with. But it was insane because just to think if that was what the first text or anything of what anybody would be able to fucking write down, and then for somebody to try and interpret that and it filters through, like, dude, that could be fucking interpreted and fucking defined as something just way out of context and way fucking wrong and absolutely not what the fuck it was actually meant to be. And
so I want your take on another thing.
Yeah.
Have you heard the McKenna's stoned ape theory?
Oh man, you know what, McKenna, I listened to a lot of stuff a long time ago, and one of my main things was I was wanting to go back and listen to it all over again after the fact of, 3 vials and fucking pounds of mushrooms and fucking just at least a quarter pound of DMT I've consumed in my lifetime. But yes, no, I vaguely remember what you're talking about. I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's this theory that early hominids stumbled upon psychedelics, whether it was mushrooms because they were growing in the wild or whatever.
Yeah.
And the Joe Rogan podcast with Paul Stamets is a really interesting one. They hit on this briefly, but talking about how some mushrooms can help with the connection and growth of new nervous tissue and help reroute pathways, like the use of psilocybin for people with PTSD.
Yep.
You can change the way that your brain responds to the fear that you feel.
Yeah.
And your stress reaction, your heightened anxiety, stuff like this. And it can rewire and help you find a way to work around it or get past it or what have you.
Just help you in general, yes.
If back in the day you're being hunted by, cats that are bigger than you or the same size as you, and struggling to survive as early on as it would be, you're like fighting off wolves and cats and bears and shit like this.
Fucking dinosaurs.
That's it's gonna traumatize you. Yeah, that sort of stuff is gonna traumatize you.
Of course.
And having these tools in psychedelics, it can help you process that trauma and build that it builds like courage, it builds empathy, it builds these things that you see in leaders of the world. Like, essentially the psychedelic experience helps build the qualities we associate with leadership.
Right.
And over time and long use of these substances, these early hominids had a massive explosion in the size of their brains, started using tools, they started to have language. That's another thing that psychedelics do, is they tap into the language centers in the brain, and they have certain effects, but one of them is that you may have a stronger or a higher capacity to absorb and create language. after these experiences.
And that is a very fucking big reason why I believe that it all started from language, a linguistic fucking... That's where it all starts.
Mm-hmm. And what if the genesis of our languages was this trying to find some way to communicate what the hell just happened to us, you know?
Exactly.
Like, you just went on an insane spiritual level trip, and you have no way of telling your monkey brother what the fuck just happened.
Right.
So you have to find new ways to communicate this.
And it's just like, how the fuck can you verbalize it?
Yeah, we've observed other animals that have verbal patterns and a language of their own. What are they? Prairie dogs or meerkats. Prairie dogs have different words for human and human with a hat.
How can you... Okay, and also, with that being said, coral. There are different species of coral, and it doesn't matter where they are in the world. But every time, every year, at this specific time, no matter if you take a piece of coral, you break it off from the reef, and you put it in a bucket, and you put it under your sink in somewhere in England. But every time, at that specific time of year, they reproduce. And it doesn't matter where they are, but it doesn't matter.
It's time to start budding.
And it happens with every individual different species of coral, and it's a fact. And we don't know how they communicate that, how that even happens. Right. It's a fucking it could all be fucking telepathic. Who knows? Mm-hmm. We don't know what it is. But
it's like how bees communicate with little dances. And those dances have complex instructions contained within them. And the same podcast I was talking about, Paul Stamets, he was talking about how he noticed that bears would swipe and scratch the bark off of trees, which made a wound where fungus could enter and start to take over the tree. Now, why do bears go looking for honey in trees? Because bees like to build their hives in rotting trees, which usually have fungus in them. And he discovered that the fungus that was growing in these trees had antibacterial properties that helped reduce deformed wing syndrome and highly increased the hive's immune capability. If the hive were all one organism, so to say, and it had one immune system, the ones that built their hive next to these mushrooms, and it was part of their biome, so to speak, they fared a lot better, and they were healthier because of it. So it's one of those things that it's possible that fungi are the architects of our world and our ecosystem.
I believe that. I fucking I like to believe that is a very credible fucking thing that we really don't even know much about. And we spend so much time fucking romanticizing other outlets that really hold no bearing to where and why and the what and the how. And we have no idea. We have no fucking idea, man. I just love that. I love that.
I mean, it's obviously become a problem that we as people are just far too concerned with building and destroying than we are actually nurturing and taking care of what literally keeps us alive.
Yeah.
And just no interest in it. Like bees are dying.
Yeah, and we don't give a fuck.
But yeah,
bees
even
pollinate.
even after all of the shit about, all of the evidence that bees are important to the way that we live our lives, still not enough people trying to save them.
No. And it goes back, and I'm always just thinking, like, I'm ballparking, like, this whole fucking thing, and I really just believe that the barrier of fucking language, it really goes back down. What is language, and what it translates differently in every aspect of life, and we just, like, really have no understanding of, like, the who, the what, the why, the how. And we would know.
Speaking of language and stuff like that, it's what the fuck is an idea?
It's a profound object of fucking obsession.
I'm glad that you referred to it as an object. It's not something that humans create.
No.
They just fucking come to us.
Right. Absolutely.
I was gonna call it a virus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets in you,
Some
and it lingers,
mimetic.
and it festers, and it never goes away.
Yeah.
It's just there. And even if you don't like the idea, it's always in your head.
You just really you just don't. It's just a profound nuance that fucking you can't really even pinpoint the manifestation, like, of it at all.
Yeah, you can't like see an idea starting to form.
Right.
It's just like
it just shows up.
It just sort of it just announces itself, and you all of a sudden have an idea.
You automatically are like,
well,
what is this? It's a premonition of fucking some type of just. Yeah, you know, it just shows up. Like, yeah.
Like, it's one of those things, you don't have to be even on that subject of it. You'll just be sitting there, and then suddenly,
boom. Where does your mind go? Where it ventures off and fucking creates, maybe, or it just picks up. It picks up a random vibe, impulse, energy, fucking signal from somewhere that you have no idea where it comes from, or where it stems from. You're just like, well, this is something.
It's just there. And you kind of stop, and you're either going, well, that's neat, or I like that.
Or that's terrifying.
Or you're sitting there, and you're just mildly or extremely disturbed by whatever thought popped into your brain. And
that happens to me a lot.
Oh, same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes I'll just have obtrusive thoughts. It's not something that I would have chosen to think about.
No.
I can understand why I'm thinking about it. It's just like, oh.
Sometimes you can't even understand why.
So there's,
It's one of those things that's taken me a lot of hard work and a few years of hard work to be like, oh, okay, that sort of idea that just popped into my head is the result of conditioning and trauma and my reactions to things. Talking about how I've, for a long time, believed that all I am is my experiences, but now, there might be something more. I don't know.
Well, all you are is what you think of your experiences to be, what you perceive them to be. I feel that now I can see that, obviously you've grown estranged from that said idea, or what you consider that to be an idea.
Yeah, it's one of those ideas that, I don't know, it's just, I just want to give it space to grow. If something comes along that is going to make the way that I view my consciousness and how things in the world are, it's going to make that picture just a little bit bigger, then I want to make sure that I've still got enough canvas left that I can be like, okay, let's see how that works into everything else I know, and if I buy it, I buy it. If I don't, it's bullshit.
Yeah. I feel that. I feel that for sure.
And I kind of got off topic from what I was thinking about. So,
I mean, we've gone severely off topic from what we started with, but
Yeah, well, it spawned
this is
off.
standard.
It spawns off, and it always does. But also,
But I feel like it's taken
the
a
fucking-
very
yeah.
nice turn.
Yeah. And it always, and especially just talking about consciousness, where it stems off from, like, realistically, this all happened from talking about being fucking self-aware. What is self-aware? What is consciousness?
Actually, it all spawned from us starting last week's one with just us talking about how many people on the internet make reviews of things while they're completely ill-informed and don't know what the fuck they're actually talking about.
Right. And so then that turned into fucking, like, sentient fucking self-awareness, and realistically...
I've got an interesting thought here. So, going back to our initial definition of what consciousness is, to be awake and aware of your surroundings.
True.
So, in those scenarios where you've taken a substance where you can no longer perceive your own surroundings, you're seeing shit that's not there, such as, like a heavy DMT sort of trip. Are you still
Most of my
conscious at that
dreams.
point?
Which
Do you
really...
consider yourself to be conscious when you're asleep, or did you lose consciousness and regain it when you wake up?
See, and that's really what the fallacy of consciousness is. It's a fallacy. It's really a fucking... you really can't define consciousness. You can't even put... You could generalize what you may think or perceive consciousness to be, but to
There's
achieve...
no way you can confirm it.
Right, exactly. And for someone to fucking say that we can have artificial intelligence that can become artificial general intelligence, we're far from that, I feel. And it's not, and the most colorful minds in artificial intelligence will agree to say that is very much a fact. That they're far from fucking like sentient, fucking self-aware, fully conscious, self-conscious, self-aware intelligence.
Yeah. Ben, you've got something to say.
Yes. I was going to throw another thought-provoking thing out there, I guess.
Sure. Provoke my thoughts.
Astral projection.
It could be achieved.
Hear me out. It's a theory. It's a thing people have talked about happening to them. It's a thing that a lot of in the same kind of concept of you talking about like DMT trips.
I've had that happen.
Going
I've
to all
done
the
it.
other things, like it's a thing that people have gone through.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in other dimensions and the
Same.
everything else. I find it impossible to believe that this is all there is. Like I don't. There's no fucking way. I've seen too much weird shit growing up and over the course of my life to believe that the physical plane we see is all there is, and that this planet is all there is. We've had that conversation before.
Yeah.
I would like to extend the theory that some of our dreams are, yes, some things that we just go through in our subconscious and are working on and shit, but I also believe that other ones are weird astral projection trips to other dimensions and such.
Yeah.
And a big reason I say that is I've had way too fucking many dreams that years down the road forgot they even happened until I see this one defining little thing, and it all just fucking pops right back in my head, and I go, what the fuck?
There's that deja vu factor.
And then I'm paranoid for like the rest of the day because like I remember everything about whatever was in that dream, and I'm going,
Yeah, so you're starting to look for more glitches in the Matrix.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And generally other shit like will start falling into place. It might not be exact, but it'll be damn near.
No, I've experienced a
Yeah.
similar thing to where
Yeah.
you feel like you know what the future of this experience is going to be because you've seen it before. It's like
And it's not always a
it's like-
perfect
it's like
rendition.
It's like Jolene in Part 6. She's American. She's seen The Sixth Sense, but people in Japan have not. So Jolene fucking spoils the ending of The Sixth Sense in the manga. Welcome, Japan.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a thing.
So
And
it's like you've been in this scenario before. You've seen these things happen before. It's sort of like the Truman
the Truman
the Truman Show moment of, you know, old man with flowers. Wait for the dented beetle. Wait for the dented beetle. There's the dented beetle.
And then you get a choice. Because you know how it can play out. So then you have to stop and go, do I keep moving forward? Or do I make a choice to actively try and change whatever it is that happens?
I was just gonna say, have you ever tried to change the timeline?
Yeah, I've turned around and walked away before.
Yeah. How'd the rest of that day turn out?
Fucked up.
You ever think you might have
Fucked
supposed
up?
to walk toward it?
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have done that 180.
Yeah. Because the times that I have actually like went out of my way because I was like, the rest of the day's usually gone absolutely to shit.
Little do you know, when you die, you're gonna look back and that specific date and that specific moment was when somebody accidentally hit F5 on your keyboard and did a quick save.
Hey man, hey, just
Yeah.
fucking just think of it, man. Soon we're gonna be able to upload all of our brains and everything that we think is a brain's function to a computer, and then put ourselves in a fucking in a different body, in a different artificially engineered body. That's gonna happen.
Did you
within the
watch
next...
Altered Carbon yet?
That's what you're getting at. But earlier I was saying, like, we could already be there. We could already just, our brain could
But
just
how
be a
do
program
exactly
inside of
we're
a
a
machine.
fucking brain in a vat.
We don't know.
We're a brain in a vat.
We don't have a way
But
of
what
knowing.
I'm saying is that we don't even have to be a meat brain. We could be an electron. We could be an electron brain inside of a hard drive somewhere.
So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
throw the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy out here real quick.
Nice.
Go on.
Earth is a supercomputer, and
Oh,
it's
right.
basically looking
Yeah,
for all
nice.
that, and basically, so in that, you've read. Have you read the book? Seen the movie?
Yeah, we are the computer that is
Yeah.
to find the.
I know you
ultimate
have,
question.
but I don't know. Marshall probably has.
The movie. I've seen it a long time ago. I don't know.
The movie's a disappointment compared to the books. It's enjoyable, but
No, I have not read the book.
Yeah.
No.
So basically, the whole concept of it is they're trying to figure out what the meaning of life is, and they build a supercomputer to find out what the question is that they need to answer in order to
So
understand.
come
what
back
the
in
answer
fucking
is.
like 1,000 years, 10,000 years, or
But
It's
whatever.
more like
Well, didn't they
millions.
first build deep thought to find the answer?
Yeah, they first built deep thought to find the answer, which was a supercomputer, but the answer was just what's the answer to life, the universe, and everything, and comes back and says 42. So they're like, well, what the fuck, dude? And it's like, well, it would have been nice to know what the actual question was. And they're like, what do you mean? It was the question of life. And it's like, that's not a question. Only when you know the question will you understand what the answer means. So deep thought basically makes a computer to find out what the actual question was. The computer was Earth. And it was so complex that life basically grew from it in the form of humans and everything that we basically see on the planet that wasn't already put there by the making
Yeah.
of the Earth.
And that's sort of where where my brain is going with the simulation theory.
I
had a
love
that's where you were kind of going with it. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
Like, yeah, we're the microprocesses. We are
individual fucking processors that fucking power this fucking this question that is a derivative of actually everything in its essence.
Right, like your brain is a core in a CPU inside of a giant computer trying to do a thing.
Absolutely.
And the only way to do the thing is to simulate the universe.
And the only way we can simulate the universe is fucking being everybody is its own anomaly that fucking has its own life nuance that is individualistic in its nature that can't be set down and defined on a fucking page.
And did you just try to look at me through the camera when he said anomaly?
Maybe. Get out of my head.
How long have we been going?
About 2 hours.
The original half hour. It's a good 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Episode 24 on YouTube is showing an hour and a half, but yeah, we had that first.
This is okay. So the first one hasn't gotten uploaded yet. I'm gonna have to delete that one, but
Gotcha.
This one is definitely running at an hour and 35 minutes and 50 seconds. But
now, this is a subject I wouldn't mind doubling back on.
Definitely not. No,
we could definitely come revisit this conversation again.
Yeah, like I said,
this
is a fucking
next week to just bounce back on this same thing and kind of continue, because there's stuff like this that I genuinely enjoy hearing what other people have to say and talking about it, because there's so many thoughts.
That's because that's what your program wants you to do.
And it's because it's good.
It's just juicy. It's just brain fuel, man. From everybody else's individual perspective on this, and that's why I wanted to have more people on here.
Of course it's brain fuel, because it's data that our brains were simulated to crunch.
Right. Hey, and you know what? What makes it crunch fucking harder than talking about the very thing that it's meant to be doing? I don't know.
What if talking about the thing that it's meant to be doing is actually a highly evolved form of procrastination?
Hey.
So that we don't have to find the answer.
So be it.
I mean, I feel like that would just fit right into my persona, so.
You're so stupid. I'm the one doing this to you.
You're so dumb. I'm the one doing it to you.
Daniel's brain.
Well, you know what?
So Monday you're gonna wake up at noon.
For Wednesday, I got something real special planned.
Well,
see, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna start by being productive, and you think it's gonna be a good day, but I don't want you to go anywhere.
So one of your friends is gonna call you, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, you should come. I want you to know I'm going anywhere that day." So I'm not gonna go anywhere, but you're also gonna feel really bad about it. So you're not gonna get anything else done the rest of the. You're gonna sit and watch Netflix.
Well then, this is a fruitful one. This is a fruitful one, but yes, I'm gonna call it. We're gonna call this one. Call it a day. Call it a wrap.
One of these days, we're gonna have a subject like this, and we're gonna do it on a day that we actually are like not busy.
Yeah,
and we're gonna have no time limit.
We can record this conversation on a day off.
Yeah,
and we're gonna just make it long as fuck.
It'll be the one where it's not gonna be live. I'm just gonna record it all. And we're gonna I'll just leave the uploading to me because I have the gigabit connection. So, but
you guys see that the latest or second to last JRE was 5 hours long.
Second to last what?
Joe Rogan and Duncan Trussell.
Oh no!
Yeah, no, I fucking. Oh man.
5 hours.
I fucking really want to watch that. Actually, that was on my fucking list of things to do. Was watch that.
I got Ben to start watching Duncan's show, The Midnight Gospel, with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I fucking like Lex's. I don't know if you watch any of Lex Friedman's shit.
No. But if you've got a Netflix subscription, check that out, because you can support Duncan and you can get your mind blown and cry a little bit at the end all at the same time.
Well, I definitely fucking have Netflix, and I definitely will have to look at that shit.
Yeah, I think it's 8 episodes on Netflix. It's The Midnight Gospel. Check it out.
I definitely will.
But
yeah.
It's a very DMT flavored cartoon.
I love flavors that always end up being DMT, because DMT is something that is just a part of me naturally, and I definitely like doing
tasty.
it.
Yeah, that's what Terrence McKenna said. Is if DMT is illegal, then everyone's holding because your brain makes it.
Yep. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. God damn it. And if you ever can fucking have the grace of fucking doing some of that and just traveling beyond the realm of which we can perceive with our eyes,
I hope to.
you definitely should. I hope everybody should, can, and does someday in their fucking very little time span that they have in the vessel in which their fucking brain in a vat gives it. But this was enlightening. I definitely just enjoy fucking hearing everybody fucking talk about what their different ideas and perceptions of this damn thing we call life and what we define consciousness as.
I would apologize about being as quiet as I was through this one, but I honestly just was really enjoying hearing everything.
No, it's very good to have a mind-opening conversation with other open-minded folks.
Yeah. And I feel like you and I, specifically you and I, Jay, have talked about a lot of stuff already.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that we're rehashing old conversations.
Yeah. So I think that's another reason why I kind of just sat back a little bit, because I didn't want to jump in and just be like, oh yeah, we talked about this, like blah blah blah, or we did blah blah blah, and like all that, because I feel like it would take away.
I feel the next time that we have some type of conversation like this, I want to be, I want to definitely be in another mindset other than just the booze or the beer. I'm definitely going to try and find a fungal solution to this, because
I've got a friend who is preparing some jars to grow some fresh fungal solution.
Nice, yeah. I'm actually going to get my hand. I'm gonna get my hands on some things here, and I feel like that's whenever the next 5-hour conversation is gonna come in. Because I feel like I 100% want to fucking. I want to have an actually like opened mind and third eye fucking point of view.
Ben, you said that you took some like camping one time and we were out looking at trees and stuff. Yeah. I feel like
those trees were really pretty.
If said friend can pull through, we have a little barter thing going on, because they're obviously going to be fresh and wet and spongy. And I work in a place that does a lot of shipping, so I have a ton of silica gel desiccant packets to give this person to assist in drying them out. So maybe when things all shake out, we can get together and I can do the podcast from your place and we can join in.
Yeah. That sounds great. I'm going to try and see. I don't think my brother is going to be down to to revisit these different planes of psychedelic consciousness, but I definitely am going to be able to do that because I don't see myself in the foreseeable future ceasing in the consumption of said things. So
yeah, and just to make sure, just to make sure that YouTube knows that we're not conspiring to do anything illegal.
No, oh no.
We're just talking. This is all hypothetical.
This is definitely a book I'm writing. It's a fucking it's memoirs of a psychedelic mind.
Yeah,
I just really like fucking
about
shiitake mushrooms.
Absolutely. I mean, who doesn't like mushrooms on pizza? You know what I mean?
Breaded, pizza, all the things.
I mean, yeah.
I don't see a problem here.
But yes,
Right.
it has been a very, very fruitful and beautiful conversation. And I'm definitely very happy that it ended up being like this. Aside from the fucking audio faux pas that happened in the first 30 minutes of this damn podcast. But
Well, I feel like a great way to sign off would be to steal a little thing from Mr. J. Kenji Lopez Alt of, alright, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. This has been the Triple B. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
okay. But yes, that is nice. That is
Yeah,
very good to
it's
have
fun-
you. Very good to have you here.
Yeah.
And I
It's
definitely want to see you
definitely-
on a so I could see your face. You know, I hear the
Yeah,
voice. It's great.
I'll get a webcam.
So,
Well, I mean, don't rush it,
you
but
get,
you could go to Ben's house, fucking whatever.
so yeah, we'll have to get one. We'll have to do another weekend one sometime here.
Yeah.
When I don't have kiddo, and we can get Jay out here, and we can all just do like what we did for the lore one.
Yeah,
we'll,
that was
we'll
good.
just do I don't know. We'll talk about it
We will,
more
yeah.
on the logistics side, but I might be able to do something where I can bring my own mic and
Yeah,
set up that way.
There you
that
go.
would be nifty too.
Yeah. But yeah, man.
Yes.
Jay, I do appreciate you coming on. Josh, obviously, he came on and left, and it was very nice to have him. But we definitely are doing this again. This subject is so fucking so broad, and just
Yeah,
nothing
there's
but
no way that we can cover our opinion of consciousness in like 2 hours.
no, and there's no way that we'll be able to actually even fully cover it in no matter how many videos that we fucking have until it fucking is
Let
like beating a
alone-
dead horse and we're
Let
just
alone
like
branching
repeating.
off into other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, until science can accurately represent consciousness.
Then that's
I don't
how
think
long
we're
it'll
done.
take. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't think we'll ever be done here.
No.
Nope.
But you know what? This is where we're gonna fucking cut this motherfucker, cause I need to
Say
fucking, you know,
Say it, bitch.
I need to goddamn
it.
fucking.
No, say it.
Oh, not piss.
Say it.
No, I pissed way earlier in the beginning of the fucking.
Peasant.
Yeah, I don't need a piss right now. But you know what? Actually, I could fester up a piss here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know-
always can after.
Yeah. Well, fuck it. I need a piss. So, no. I'm not cutting it off because I need a piss, but fucking goddamn it. This is good. It's been almost 2 hours. And we're going to come back on this, and we're going to touch way more on it. But until then, this has been Beards,
That's
Beer,
me.
and Booze. And my name is Marshall.
I'm Ben.
And
I'm Jay.
we're signing off, and good night, and thank you all. And if you enjoyed this at all, we do have our Patreon if you want to support us in that way. If not, since I have since made this very big this thing, I need to shrink a dink it down so we can show you right here in the description. We have our Facebook. You can go to our Facebook page. You can go to our Twitches. I haven't been streaming much. Ben has. Yeah, you could support us like that, or you could just drop a fucking a like and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you have that bell. Hit that bell for notifications. But yeah, that's it. That's it for tonight. We love you.
If there's any of the podcasts that you missed, go check it out on YouTube.
Yeah, oh, it's all there, baby. But yeah, all y'all out there in the fucking universe watching, thank you very much, and we will see you next Wednesday. Peace
Have
out.
a lovely night.